So we have a question here about the, I'm going to be a bit quiet because I'm in a library, but the INDI pack. What's it going to take physiologically and emotionally to win the INDI pack? Now this is 5,474 kilometres, and these events are not won by a high FTP. They're not won by EPO parrots. They're not won by dopers, essentially. You could take all the best drugs in the world, but you're only going to be riding about 120, 150 watts per day. And you don't need EPO to ride 120 watts or 150 watts. You don't need testosterone to do 120 watts. You need testosterone to do maybe 2,000 watts in a sprint for 10 seconds. But you don't need to do ride 120 watts because you're not really going to exhaust your glucose levels because you're riding so easy and there's not a breakaway you have to chase down. There's no dropping a water bottle or missing a feed zone or whatever. It's just like you've got your food on you. You can stop anytime you want. You can, you know what I mean? You got 200 k's between gas stations, so you can never run out of food or water. I mean, maybe you can run out of water if you're a bit unorganised, but I mean, if you run out of food, it's because you're unorganised. It wasn't because the race was just so hard. And then you got to go home to your team car that night, and you got to do a blood bag and a glucose infusion, and you just, you know, you got to deal with the media and the press and the doping control, and maybe you had a crash, you got to go see a doctor, and that's just like, that's pro cycling. That's just cutthroat as fuck. It's so hardcore. So the INDI pack isn't about who has the best team doctor. It's not about that at all. It's not about who's got the best team budget. It's not about who's got the best coach. It's about who's prepared the best, not fucking bio or sports medicine wise. Who's prepared the most, who wants it the most, who's prepared to sit on the bike. It's basically like going like this for 18 hours a day. Just boring as fuck. This doesn't take fitness to do this. It doesn't take fitness to ride at 120, 150 watts. That's easy, man. That's easy. But to do it day after day after day, again, isn't even fitness. It's not fitness, man. It's up here as drive. It's why. You can take all the fucking drugs in the world, man. But if you don't have the why, it ain't gonna work. Simple as that. Like you go down the street and get some dude on PCP who's not gonna sleep for a week, and you go throw him a bike and say, mate, ride across Australia. You're like, you probably fucking start chewing the bike. He doesn't have the why. He's on the drugs. He's all zinged out. But he'll get dehydrated and he'll get undercarved. So people make a mistake that you can do a lot of drugs in these ultra races, and it is true, man. I mean, painkillers, they can definitely give the advantage if you've got like some sort of saddle issue or whatever. Some saddle sores in the painkillers will work, but they won't cure the saddle sore. Your saddle sore is going to basically be bleeding, you know. So, and even then, painkillers wear off, and painkillers affect your stomach. So, and same with stimulants, you can dehydrate and affect your stomach. So, in a short event, these drugs can help. In an event where it's high intensity, like high wattages, you know, 300 watts, 400 watts for a few hours, then yeah, they can help. But in the ultra world, man, that's why you see women doing so well versus guys. Because women have about 10 times less testosterone than men. But how are they doing so good in these events like the marathon? Even the marathon, man, that's a cardio event. But you know, how come women are doing so good at it? You know, the gap's not that big, really, if you look at it. Paula Radcliffe's world record, full natty bra, back in 2003, 2005, compared to the 203, whatever running now. It's not that much different, really, compared to, look at the other gaps. The shorter the event, the bigger the gap is, but the longer the event, the smaller the gap is, because testosterone levels don't factor as much. And you'll see a lot of women in this race beating the guys, dominating the guys, who obviously have 10 to 20 times more testosterone in their blood than these women. But how come? How come the girls can dominate? Because it's a question of persistence. And most women know how to persist. And it's more about, it's not about how fast you can sprint or what your FTP is. It's how motherfucking fast you can ride. Not even how fast you can ride. It's more of a competition of who can sleep the least. Not even that, is it? Well, let's break it down. The INDI pack, man, is about who is going to minimise wasted time standing in lineups, checking in the hotels, doing shit with their bike or whatever, eating food. If you're sitting down to eat, I hope you're fucking on your bike seat moving forward. You know, this is a race. It's not a tour. I mean, sure, there's some people are gonna, like, maybe even me, maybe get an injury and you can't race anymore, go back into tour mode. For sure, that's a really good idea to do that. Don't pull out if you can still ride. Swap it down to tour mode. But if you want to race it, man, you gotta save every motherfucking seconds. And you'd be about staying on your bike as long as possible. Not at the highest wattages, but staying on as long as possible, minimizing wasted time. And that comes down to why. Why? Do you have the why? If not, so bottom line, I'd say the INDI pack, the biggest factor in the INDI pack decision, apart from luck and crashes and stuff like that, aside from all that, the biggest factor is who is the craziest motherfucker out there. Who's the craziest motherfucker? Who's willing to push it to the limits?